Thank you everybody. Welcome to my podcast, Black Woman Business by Thuli Mgwebile. Today we're actually having our 20th episode. It's very exciting for us to be in this type of setting because usually I do the podcast in my own space, privately. I've never ever had to sit in front of an audience, so I think this celebrates our very big occasion of reaching the 20th episode. Please, guys, give me a round of applause. Thank you so much. I'm just going to get a few things out of the way before I dive straight into it. First of all, I don't know if I'm offending anyone by having my shades. Like I said, it's very unusual for me to have cameras and things. When I shoot my podcast, I just do the voice. I just do the visuals. I don't do the visuals, sorry. And worst of all, I've always grown up a very skinny person. And then after COVID, something happened, and I just became like this. So I'm still a little bit body conscious, but I'm getting there. Firstly, I don't want to just start dumping all business information with you. This will be very much informal. I will do a delivery, which will be about 20 minutes. And then after my delivery, you guys can come out and start asking questions, and then we can have a good discussion about it. And then also, first up, I will just introduce myself so you know exactly who you're talking to, and also what qualifies me to talk about business. So, like I said, I'm Thuli Mgwebile. I'm 38 years old. I'm a nuclear technician by profession. That means I studied chemical engineering, and then I went on to study industrial engineering as well. So I've been very, very fortunate. I've worked at some production plants at PetroSA. I've also worked at Chevron, the refinery, and also I worked at Koeberg, the nuclear power plant. That's where I received my training as a nuclear technician. I've really enjoyed being in corporate, but I found that it has become very demanding in terms of my time. I started working shifts, and it just became a roller coaster ride where I had to start working more hours, if not more hours, study further, more training to get to more money. It was just a never-ending cycle, to the point where the people that I started work with now have left their families, go overseas, more money. It's just a never-ending cycle. And I did foresee this, and then I said to myself, I can't. This is not the lifestyle that I want to live. I really, really want to live a more relaxed life, a more abundant life. What was my biggest stress and made me ultimately start a business was that I really wanted to give more. And I couldn't pay my bills. Like, I still was in trouble with money. No matter how many hours I still put, and all the overtime, the shifts, still, my financial needs are not met. So I said to myself, there has to be a better way or another avenue at least. And then I went into the business world. It was very, very tough, especially for my parents and husband to understand, because obviously to them I'm leaving a very cushy job, and now I'm gonna start begging people for money. Because that's how family thinks of it, you know, right at the beginning. You studied, you did all these difficult courses, and now you want to tell us you want to go sell ice cream. So what's your problem? Basically, that's my long and short, that's my story. I love that in this 20th episode, we're going to be talking about how to become your own breadwinner. Very interesting topic. Actually, I was summoned to this topic so that it fits in to the whole idea of what we are trying to do today at this podcast event. So I'm going to be speaking under a few headings. This is how I usually do this. I first will explore what is a woman, the nourishing aspect of a woman, your needs, your priority, enough is enough, start small, your light, element of equality in the world, and practically what to do. Okay, so I want to bring it back to what is a woman? Because now we're going to be going back to being your own breadwinner. So, when I think of a woman, I think of nourishment, I think of warmth, I think of security, I think of a provider, I think of somebody who's able to multitask, I think of somebody who's able to give love, and somebody who's able to make the home a warm and friendly place. That's what I think of when I think of a woman. I think of somebody who's got an intuition. I think of somebody that has a sixth sense, somebody who always wants to protect, somebody who is beautiful, somebody who is soft, who is light, somebody who is very intelligent, very knowledgeable, well-rounded. That's what I think of when I think about a woman. And these things lead me to the nourishing aspect of a woman. The nourishing aspect of a woman that I'd like to cover is, you know, we as women, most of the times, we know what is needed in the home. We know what is needed by people that we love. And sometimes these things are our biggest priorities in our list of things to do. But I want to remind you of a place where all of us have been as women, where you feel like if you send somebody to go and do something, they won't do it as well as you would. Or sometimes they will even forget, because to them it's not a priority. You know, it's just a priority to you. Not that they don't care or they don't want to, maybe sometimes they don't want to, but they just don't want to give it that effort that you would give it. They don't want to give it that attention that you would. So it leads me to this focusing of the need, focusing of what is really, really wanted and what needs to be done. So my question here is, when do you say enough is enough when it comes to that? You know that if somebody is doing your errands for you when it comes to finances, they are the ones that are providing these finances. Obviously, when you say they must buy school shoes for your son or your daughter, for them that's not the focus. They are thinking something else. Maybe to them, you know, going to the movies is more important. But you know the need. When you're lying in bed and you start thinking about these school shoes that you really want your son to get, but you can't go yourself because you don't have the money, the power, you don't have the bread actually to make it happen. So I want to ask us, when do you say enough is enough with that? So that you can come to a place where you have a freedom of money going into your own bank account, labor of your own hard work, sweat of your own going into your bank account, and you're saying, hey man, wait with the electricity, wait with everything else, I'm going to buy my son school shoes. Now you have made it your own. You have actually grabbed your own power and you've started your own stance, because now you are the one that comes to decide, because you've got the power, you've got the money, this is all in your hands. So guys, what does it have to take for us to want that for ourselves? Instead of always waiting for another person to do it for us, giving instruction, waiting, begging, being nice when you don't even want to be nice to this person. Because you need it most. You need that 50 rand that he's going to give. When are we going to take it upon ourselves to do it ourselves and say, now I have the power, this is my money, this is how I'm going to decide how to move things around here. Guys, sweat of your own labor. These days, with jobs, it's very difficult to get a job. It's good to try, others are very, very fortunate to get jobs. But if you can't, you need to start something. If you can't get a job, you can't just sit and wait and beg and, just be a walkover. Because people mistreat you when they see that, this one always needing stuff, always need. No. It's a very internal thing. It's a very personal thing. It's a very personal choice that you make, and you decide, no, this time I'm going to do things my own self. And I'm going to do it in a small way. It's fine. I will start very, very small. I think, that is the most empowering feeling. To come to that decision already is the most empowering feeling. So I just want to say, it doesn't have to be a big thing that you start. It doesn't have to be a big thing, because remember, when you're starting the first few steps, it's mainly to encourage yourself to get to the better place. And guys, when it comes to this thing of business, persistence and keeping going, consistency, and also just being alert and very alert. When I say alert, if you're having a problem where you are staying, you're having a problem with, what can I call it? Just making a typical example of, if you have a dog, or you don't have anybody to walk your dog when you're at work or whatever. Now there is a problem to solve. If you don't have anybody looking after your child, you're not sure where to keep them when you're going to work. That is a problem that needs a solution. Guys, we don't have to do supernatural things when it comes to business. The solution to a problem is a business. A solution to a problem is a business. So I think if we can try to bring that forward and try to not be too trying to think of too supernatural things, or sometimes, just doing the most simplest thing can grow you to the next step and to the next step. So I think that is also very important. Another thing is that, and I quite enjoy this one. This is why I enjoy also helping people with their businesses or whatever that we do. All of us in the world, we bring a different element. We bring a different texture to the room. We present something unique. Each and every one of us, it's like a fingerprint. Everybody has got their own light, and everybody has got their own way of presenting themselves to the world. So I need us to start thinking of, when we come out to the world, and other people have done it before, superstars, and I made a typical example the other day to my brother about Beyonce, saying that, Beyonce didn't wake up and everybody just knew her, and she was just, a superstar. There was a day when she was 4 years old, she was 5 years old, she was 16, she was 20. That time, she's cultivating her light, she's being persistent, and I think we can come to the realization that all of us contain some sort of light, because we all bring different elements to the world. We need to shine a spotlight inside and make sure that we bring out to the world what we've come to do. Our purpose in the world really matters, and whatever that we have to give, nobody else can give except for you. So if you decide to sit on it, or you decide to not do anything about it, you are depriving yourself, and you are depriving the world of what we could expect. So basically that is my stance around that, but just moving on to be very, very practical now on the nitty-gritties of trying to provide bread to yourself and being a breadwinner for your own self. I would like to say, if there's a problem, like I say, the solution is business. If you want to transact, I started very small with my business, because I left corporate in 2016 when I started my business, and I thought to myself, I'm a bit worried, because What I want to sell is not that common. Like my knowledge is of plant production, valves, pipes, like also who's gonna wanna buy those stuff, like what am I gonna do, you know, how am I gonna sell these type of things? And then I sprinted into a wheel of action where I asked my boss, can you please put me into the procurement department? It was an unusual request that they lend me out to the procurement department because I wanted to see the process of tenders. How do tenders go? Like, what do you actually do? What is this fuss about the paperwork of tenders? Fortunately for me, my boss agreed. She loaded me to that department. Then I got to learn about the paperwork, how BEE certificate, registration of a company, tax clearance, and so forth. So it took a long while because obviously now I had to completely downgrade my life. You know, that sob story that we all have, losing the car, losing the house, because obviously you can't keep up with all those payments, you don't have a salary anymore. And also the self-doubt that comes with it, that whole roller coaster. So we ended up moving into my mom's house in a small town called Malmesbury in Cape Town. And then we moved into her house. I still ran my office from her garage. And then eventually we opened an office, which was close to a college. But then college students kept on coming to our office to ask for photocopies. And then when they were asking for photocopies, I'm asking, like, what is the problem? I started charging them. Then I started charging them R1 for photocopies. Then I realized the college also struggles to get photocopies for exam papers and stuff. I went and approached the college, and then we started making books for the college. Then I approached NYDA and asked them if they can help us with machines, because we were working like from very small printers. Asked NYDA, put in an application. It was a very long process, but eventually we got big machines. We were able to put together booklets and exam books, and then we were servicing the college. And then our train started moving, and it started moving until we were able to now open an office in Johannesburg. After opening the office in Johannesburg, now the areas of expertise in our business is IT, chemicals, and energy. So in the energy sector, we supply technical components, the ones that I actually started off with. We are actually supplying them now. We're not just wondering like, when is the next transaction gonna come in? And then basically, the company is now national. We also have, under the chemicals department, we have a cleaning wing. We service 17 regions in one of our contracts nationally. So what I'm trying to say, guys, start small, start anything. You need to start. You need to start, no matter how small. Because can you hear my story, guys? The turning point was when we moved to an office that is opposite the college. My intention was never to sell photocopies. But people are knocking. Every 2 seconds, they want a photocopy, want a photo. Okay, no, let me charge you R2. After charging R2, no, sometimes we would have even an internet cafe where they start doing their assignments, but it just started getting too much because you know how students are, they want to submit late. So they all want to come. They all want to come like one time, and then it's a frenzy. Anyway, so that was the turning point, and then we started getting worthy contracts from the college on their books. And because the college also outsourced their work to places around the country, so we used to print books for places also around the country and make sure of the delivery, you know. So we didn't go in there wanting to start like that, but it eventually falls in place once you have started. So basically, guys, I really want to encourage you. You want that feeling of the freedom of owning your own money, having your own power, making your own decisions. You don't want to always be begging and asking the next person and smiling if you don't want to smile. So it's a very empowering feeling. So we employ about 35 people. We've got 5 people in the head office. Both my husband and I work for the business. So it's been a very exciting roller coaster. And yeah, basically that's it. That's my delivery. I don't know if you guys have any questions or anything that you'd like to ask. I see a hand.
Okay. My name is Mangele. So I have a question for you. It's based on you actually. So were there any challenges during this business of yours or during your life actually?
Come again, Ma?
Were there any challenges?
Oh yes, definitely, lots of challenges. Firstly, when I had to start the business, I had to completely remove myself of that thought of what are people gonna say. When you start losing your things, you know, when you start shedding all the fancy cars, the things that you had when you were in employment. But within the business itself, the challenges is definitely self-doubt for me was the biggest one. Because we have these conversations which are so self-defeating, you know, and it's like self-mutilation because you are hurting your own self and you're not going for the big things. And as soon as I realized that trait, I'm constantly working at it. Money, definitely the biggest challenge when it came to money. Being able to fund transactions. Sometimes I got myself up to the point where I talked myself into working for a big deal, speaking to a very big business, and then when we land the deal, now we don't have money to actually carry the deal. That one has been a big challenge, but we always overcome because you will go out and source funding, speak to people. When I reached that challenge, I actually had to go back to my ex-boss and ask him, who is now retired, a white guy, Gary Wilkins. I asked him, I have this big transaction and I need your help. He said, okay, Thuli, I can help you with a portion of that. Then you can come back and use the money again and finish the project. And that's what we did. So you go all out and make things happen. You overcome with challenges. But the biggest one by far, Sma, for me was self-doubt. There was another hand here.
Hi,
Hello.
my name is Bridget. I have a small business, right? I started it last year, July. So my business is about decoration and decor. But my plan was to hire, because I come from a small place, most of the things are not there. So I thought like, okay, since they're doing parties and they love going out, or even events too, we plan events and all that. But the thing is that, I don't know what's happening, you know? Sometimes you do get a gig or sometimes you do get somebody, but there's this thing that is holding back. Like, my question is, how do you survive? How do you keep on going?
Bridge, I get your question. We all face it. It's not like now every morning I'm ready to do business. it's far from that. And it gets very difficult at certain points. But how I overcome that, I always look for something bigger. I find, I don't know, like my sadness, it makes me so scared. It makes me so scared to think that I'm not going to be able to make you must remember this business is our family legacy. My husband is working in it. This thing can't fail, otherwise my kids can't eat, you know? So when I start thinking of those things and it starts to scare me, and then it just triggers a reaction. You know, when you think about the situation you are in now, Bridge, you look around, you're like, is this how my life is gonna be? Like, am I gonna die living like this? No, then you need to go for something bigger. You need to go social media, do your advertising, do Instagram for your business, do pictures, put it on your status, just give yourself a kick, because nobody's gonna do it for you. She already said when she was speaking here, nobody's gonna wake you up. Nobody's gonna do it for you. So when you start to feel all sluggish, this thing, it's failing anyway, so what am I doing? You look around and you think, but is this how things are gonna be for me? Is this how I want things to be? But let me tell you, Lina, I've got days like that, but like I say, I always go for something bigger. Something bigger, and I try to line up my options so that when I don't get a certain gig, I don't feel like, now it's over. I don't want to feel like that. So I will line up the next one and say, okay, so Bridge doesn't want, maybe Sma, let me speak to Sma and say, what about when we spoke about this, Always line up a lot of gigs in one go. Do the social media things. We love pictures on social media. The status also, people want to see what you're up to, Also go around with people that do the decor and do the things, and just be around that energy so that you keep on encouraging yourself.
All right, thank you.
Hi, my name is Takan. Okay, I want to ask, how do you protect your intellectual property? Like, for example, like you find yourself, like you have a lot of ideas, but you don't know whom to share with those ideas, because some people take advantage of your ideas and make it theirs. So going forward, how do you protect your intellectual property?
Okay, Takane. So with the IP issue, I've got a friend who always preaches to me, and she works in those type of department. When you have something like a logo, there is a certain avenue of registering, or if you have a certain invention, there is a way to protect your intelligence, and there are departments that protect your intelligence. But when it comes to an idea, sorry, I just want to see her. When it comes to your idea, only talk about my idea for people that are going to be part of it. You understand? If it doesn't concern that person, why am I sharing this idea? So, and then also another thing, obviously the people that you are now pitching to, they might steal your idea. Now you want them maybe to fund your idea, and you're afraid that they're going to take it and make it happen somewhere else. That, unfortunately, there's no concrete answer to that one. But my true belief is when people take your idea, they will never execute it the way that you would have. Also, I always tell people, when I walk into a room, it's because it's me. Nobody can copy and paste Thuli. Even if you're going to want to say what I'm saying, you're not going to say it the way that I would. So it's the same for everybody. You are you, and your delivery will not be the same as the next person.
Dumela.
Ashe?
Ke tlo boela to the questionnaire, Bridget. Bridget, hello? Yeah. I want to give you some few tips. I'm into deco, and briefly what I can say to you is that I started being in construction. But at the same time, having that edge, the deco thing. But it happened that my husband got involved in an accident and I couldn't. What I want to say to you is that realize something in you. While doing deco, there's something that you're also good at. So that when, for instance, in your case, when the deco is not working, it's not, you don't get work or whatever, you can switch to that. I can tell you now I'm doing 3 things at the same time. I started construction. Here and there, when a person needs something, I can help here and there and get some money from that, but I'm not that much on it again. You can see even the age doesn't also allow anymore. I'm doing deco, which I started after realizing that I can no longer do construction because of the condition of my husband, my late husband. Then I started deco. Along the way, there comes COVID. And then I started baking because during COVID, you could not cook at the funerals and whatever. I know cooking, I love cooking, I loved baking. Then I started the two at the same time. Right now, even if I don't have any weddings or funerals or parties or whatever, but once, twice or thrice in a week, I get orders for baking. I bake, I supplement the baking. I get orders for cooking, I cook, you know. So look at something, you cannot love deco without, I think if I look at you, you can know how to cook. You can know how to, they go parallel, one thing for sure. So cooking, baking and deco is not for the faint-hearted. So look at that, so that if this one doesn't work, the other one should at least supplement.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Ma. Thank you. And really, just to top it off with Umama's comment, it's very good to diversify, guys. Diversify or die, basically. That's the slogan, diversify or die. There's a reason why my company has 3 departments. And the reason is just like Mama says, we juggle between this and we balance that. Because I've learned, like, from very eloquent business people. There was one friend of mine who was very successful doing aeroplanes. And she was doing a stellar job. She was milking it. And then something happened with her licenses. Guys, they, like, nje, show over. Because she can't do much after that. Then she had to start opening other avenues. But obviously, because we are business people, we are the ones that start these things most. So we can always start another one. So, okay, next question.
Hello,
Yes.
my name is Elizabeth.
Your name is?
Elizabeth.
Okay.
My question is, when I start a business, should I go with the registration first or should I start with my business, then the registration after?
Yes, Elizabeth. Well, the thing is, with the story of registration, most times we like to hold ourselves back. We know we use registration as an excuse not to do anything. I need to register. Like, I don't know how many times I've heard people say that. You don't need to register first. Just start. There is a form of business called a sole proprietor. So that means that you are running your business with your own personal bank account. Everything is still normal. When you're starting, it's good to do that because sometimes to run a registered business, it has a few costs. But while you're still finding your feet, just start, just start your business. And then after a while, you can register your business. The reason why you are registering your business is because now you want to go into a bigger clientele. Firstly, bigger clientele, they're not gonna knock in your door first. You're gonna set the standard by having your registration, your tax clearance. You are lining up now. You're putting a garage before you have a car. You understand? So when you are now building this thing and making a formation of it, you're making your garage. You're making it 2-door for 2 cars. Or maybe you don't want to be too ambitious. You want to do, firstly, one door. Because before all of these things happen, you need to set the pace. Because comes the time when somebody says, listen, we need your registration papers. We might be able to fund your business. You are youth-owned. You are black woman. You know, we want to move forward with you. What are you going to do now? Start running around for registration papers. It's too late, you know, it's too late. So it's good to set the platform and the pace, but if you haven't started your business, you just need to start. You don't wait for that day where you register. Don't wait for that day. Registration is just to set a different pace and saying you want different, transactions now. Bigger transactions that are going to make you really eat.
So another one, how long it took you for NYDA to sponsor you?
It took a very long while. So I applied at NYDA. First application, they declined it. They didn't understand what I was selling. I was selling valves. Second one, it went quite far, but they came over to my mom's house. I actually remember in the garage, they were looking for the valves. They are like, you don't have valves? But I said, no, what I'm doing is I'm buying, like when I get an order, then I will get like, my supplier, and then they will deliver straight to my customer, you understand? So there's no need for me to keep stock here. They never understood things like that, also declined. Then I went again, third time. The numbers are not right, whatever, another decline. I got it the fourth time. That time, I was already now at the office. They can see now, okay, this girl is in an office. This is like a real business most now. Because she's got an office. It's little, it's in a shady corner, I mean, close to a college, but we can see that she's doing something. So what do you need here? That's when it started to make sense for me to do the machinery. I gave them the quote. The machine was about close to 100,000. And then they funded it. So it was literally about 4 tries before they acknowledged me.
Hello again, it's Tsakani. Okay, ma'am, I've registered a cleaning company, ne? But my problem is I don't know how to start, go or which door to knock. And another thing I want to know, is it necessary that if we have registered a company, do you have like to open an office or something like where they have to come and assess where you are working? How does it work?
No, you don't need to always have an office. It depends on your target and what wins are you going for. You understand? Even for a cleaning business, who needs cleaning? Which offices need cleaning? So those are the doors that you knock at. Also, another thing that has really helped us is to get ourselves on databases of government departments. But for me, you know what? Let me just tell you up front, Tsakane, as somebody who's already doing cleaning, government don't want to pay your invoices. Government don't want to pay your invoices. We are owed. Yes, I don't even want to tell you, you just faint. So it's always better to just go for a private company. If you see a block of companies, ask them, who does your cleaning? Can't I come here like once a week for 350? Something like that, you know. Those are the doors you knock at. It's straightforward. It's very straightforward. It's not like a heart surgery. Just ask them, don't you guys need cleaning? Who cleans your offices here? Are you happy with that? Can I give you a better rate? Then you start from there. And then you get somebody to help. That's how it happens most. And then you get another person to help. And then that one that you are cleaning for also tells another one, you know, start. The rest will just follow.
Okay. My name is Re- and I'd first like to thank Mama from talking. I actually learned a lot, and from what you sound like, I can tell that you are a go-getter, you're confident, and you're actually very passionate about what you're doing. And what I would like to know is if you could just tell me about the challenges that you faced as a black woman who is a mother, a wife, and just how did the industry treat you? Because I think that your business is very like male dominated. So I would just like to hear what you faced and if you have any tips on how to handle the fear that could come with like some of the decisions that we have to make. Like, do I change my business? Do I pivot, or do I just leave it altogether? And,
Thank you so much for those kind words. Much for that wonderful question. I actually had chills when you asked the question about being a black woman married with children. I've actually got 3 children. Fortunately, we got married young, so my husband has always been like a very good support. The challenges that I face as a black woman in business is I get a lot of undermining. Most government or even private entities, they don't believe in us. I think maybe they've been failed too many times by black business. Black business take money and run, doing all sorts of funny things. So when you come along already, they've made up their mind about you. That is usually the biggest problem. And it turns into a very big fight, which sometimes also involves lawyers. Yesterday I sat a 2-hour meeting with our lawyers. It started off as that one challenge where somebody is just completely undermining the decisions that you are making for your business. And then it just escalates. That's been my biggest challenge. Also, juggling marriage, the kids, and it's an uphill, but I always take it as a blessing. I just feel so blessed that my life is so colorful, with all these things, a husband, children, I'm excited about it. Like sometimes I try to remind myself, or like I have a look at my pictures. I'm like, is this my life? So those are the things I do just to excite myself about my state. I mean, anybody can always do it for their own selves, having a look at what you already have and practice a state of gratitude. That's how I overcome those challenges. I really cling onto that one, practicing a life of gratitude and making sure that I'm always grateful for what I have. But my challenges have mostly been, we get undermined, and then also there's no room for failure. Remember, this person's looking at you and thinking you're gonna fail. Maybe just by God's grace, because there's always also that good Samaritan that speaks so good about you in a closed room. Because if the bad guy was going to win, you are not gonna do this work anyway. So there's somebody speaking good of you and standing up for you. Now, when you have to perform, you can't afford to fail. You can't afford to make a mistake. That is also a challenge because you don't have room for failure and other things are just out of your control. So those are the challenges that you have to face and you have to juggle and just make it through. You just make it through because you don't have a choice.
Hi, Thuli.
Hi.
My question, I am running a business, but it started as a side hustle, like I think from late last where I do laundry. Like I mentioned, it started off as a side hustle, but and it has fairly been doing okay. Like I've been able to break even and also make some form of profit from it. But how would you advise someone in terms of who's in a small business, in terms of reinvesting in your business again? Because I find myself with whatever profit I make now, you save that up and then you're like, I'm going to put it bluntly, I'm too scared to overinvest. And then I'm not sure whether I'll be able to make profit from whatever investment I want to make from that. Whether, like for instance, with my business, this could be someone suggested, one of my clients suggested that I should start doing sneakers, and I'm like, this is something I've never done before because I've only just been doing clothes. But then it's not the thought of now reinvesting now in terms of my company, getting whatever it is that I need to start now venturing into that. It scares me. It scares me. But then, and like I've mentioned, I'm also a small business. But then, and it's something that I've been running as a side hustle because I've been working like full time. So in terms of reinvesting in for a person who is a small business, how would you advise me to actually go about it?
In business, I'm just going to put it very bluntly, you must take risks. You must. Otherwise, you will stay where you are. After 10 years, it will still be how it is now. Your numbers will still look the same after 10 years. To get yourself to that next level, you need to stretch it and you need to push yourself. The wins, I can't begin to tell you. When you win with this sneaker thing, it's unbelievable because it just escalates and just takes you to a level that you never even thought. So you can't be playing small, playing here, because even that money that you lose, while taking the risk, you still have a good opportunity to make it again. Instead of now losing out on an opportunity of taking yourself to the next level. For me, those are the things that really excite me now, to just push it up a little bit and just make it something else. This is comfortable. That is very comfortable, this doing here, and you know what to expect, but just take it up a notch.
To add on what Thuli was saying, Bonolo, business is about taking risks. And for the fact that you see growth, you see profit, to ask your question of how on what I maybe want to invest in buying the very same washing, buy the assets related to the washing and grow the business. You are talking about the techie. You can start gather techies, extend it to this carpets, the racks in the houses, and employ 2-3 people who can help you. But what I can say, whatever interest you are getting, buy machines, buy if you think of the racks, buy this power, whatever. The one that washes cars, you see, for your carpets. Because now you see the washing business is growing. You are on the right track. Don't start something new. Grow what you see that it is already growing. Yeah.
So we're just going to take 2 more questions. We're going to wrap it up now.
Smangela again. Pela mama wena, you are a CEO, and being a CEO is not a joke. It's a process of whole, ne? Just imagine Gilly a CEO. Wow. So I'm like, how does it feel? Being a boss. Yeah, being a boss. How does it feel? I just wish it in a shape.
It feels good, Isma, but it comes with so much responsibility, really. And it's not, I also thought, like, being a boss. But it's not even like that. Because the team that you are working with, I just feel like everybody's got something in the team bring forward to the table. The lady who's answering phones is bringing that. Me pitching to other business people, I'm bringing that. Everybody's bringing their own element, and we need to make this thing work. I don't feel like, hey, you guys are down there. It doesn't feel like it doesn't feel like that. Even when I started the business, maybe I thought it would, but everybody has got such an important element to add to this thing. Even the lady who's cleaning out there in Zanin, in Mosina, if that office is not thoroughly cleaned, there's a problem. We're going to lose a contract of 16 places. That is dependent on her. She needs to do a proper job, So I don't think I'm more important than her because we are both serving each other. Now I just need to make sure that her money is ready so that when she's done, she gets paid. You understand? Everybody's got something to add in this thing. I don't feel like, I am Makulu boss. Like, No. Yeah.
All right, we're going to take one last question, and after that, we're just going to do some takeaways with the lady there at the back.
Ma'am, I feel very honored to have met someone like you. I've met quite a bit of males in business. Met forte about what she does and so forth and so forth. So, you were speaking more about what to do as someone to start a business and so forth and so forth. So I'd like to know, in of employment, we have an issue with employment in South Africa and so forth and so forth. So when you hire your people, do you do this, this common thing, like, are you experienced? What words? Those other things, of which other people, they don't get jobs because people usually say, we want someone who's experienced. So how do you do your employment? Do it based on that? Based on people's capabilities, and you are maybe one of those few people who are willing to give someone a shot, even if someone is new in the industry, whatever, they want to do or contribute to your company, ma'am. I'd like to know.
I didn't get the lady's name.
My name is Ginger.
Oh, Ginger, yeah.
yes.
Yeah, I remember Ginger. So, Ginger, for me personally, I'm that person that will just employ this whole room, really. I'm that one. In fact, I would just run the business to the ground, trying to take on everything, family members, everybody, who needs a job. Let's just find them jobs and just put them, so people work and have a salary. So I delegate, because I know that I don't reason to the point of advancing the business when it comes to those areas. There's somebody in the business that looks after people's CVs and whatever, and then they will kind of shortlist. But I never go through a lengthy process of employment anyway, because I just feel like it's so tedious and actually painful. People are waiting for calls, people are waiting to get a response. And it's so overwhelming, the amount of applications that come through. So what I personally prefer is we just have CVs on a database, and we always try to see that we've got the right person from that database and so forth. Putting out an advert, yes, as you get hit with a wave of CVs, some that have absolutely nothing to do with what you are doing. I personally delegate that to our HR practitioner, and then she's the one that will come up with maybe a short list of people. I'm not crazy about experience. Listen, I just want to employ, basically. So, and I just need to employ somebody that's going to be fit for the job, so that I don't end up with egg on my face when we don't deliver for a client, basically. Yeah, guys, I
think we can round it up. Close off on your side.
Okay, guys, thank you so much. Thank you for the lovely questions. I feel honored to be sitting here amongst you and sharing my story. I hope that you can also self-reflect and do the same. Listen, I'm also shining my light. You also have your light. Please shine it.
Another hand of applause.